hard to say.
Oh, is that too loud?
You tell me. You know I don't know those
It
things.
might be. I don't know. I feel like all our podcasts are a little too quiet, once they finally actually get to the end user and people, I often find myself like, this is too quiet. We got to turn this up.
Straining.
Yeah, so I got to turn it all the way up. But even that's not loud enough because we don't output the sound loud enough, so
We got to scream at them.
we got to scream out, hey!
Welcome to Mission Stories.
Everybody, welcome to Mission Stories. My name is Troy, and I'm here with Lyndon. Hello, Lyndon.
Hello.
Oh, that chocolate milk has hit the bloodstream, and I feel ready to go.
Ready to speak the word.
The sugar is coursing through my veins, and I'm ready to talk for an hour.
Wow.
Immediately hits the desk, sugar crash.
It's all over.
It's all over. Lyndon, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I mean, I'm a little upset.
Why?
You've yet to comment on how beautiful and tanned I am
Oh, have you?
or my haircut.
Yeah, you're right. I've thought about your haircut. I looked at your hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's, now what do you call this style? Let me describe it for the listener. It's short on the sides, long on the top. Which I know sounds pretty general, but I mean really short on the sides to the point of it's like shorn like
Danger short.
like the Lamanites would shear their scalps
Mm-hmm.
and leave a little on top. What
Yeah.
what would we call this? I see there's like a little line. Was that intentional?
It's definitely a version of an undercut,
Okay.
which you might be like, for the listeners, they're like, Lyndon, you've done an undercut before. Not
Yeah.
like this.
Not like this.
Not this long on top.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's quite long on top.
I said, don't touch anything up top. I'm
Yeah.
growing it out. I
That's
made an
cool.
oath to grow my hair out,
Mm-hmm.
but
Just not all the hairs.
yeah. When you have curly hair, growing it out on the sides and the back is like a small version of hell.
My mother, she saw a picture from one of our recent podcasts, and she asked me about your hair. She's like, "Is his hair getting longer?" To which I replied, "Yes,
Yes.
it is." And now you've cut the sides, and now it's long on top, and I think it looks interesting. I don't trust hairdressers. I don't trust barbers. I don't trust them.
Neither do I. Like, there's a story here.
Okay.
Like, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I'm growing it out.
Okay.
And before the way they did it before, the listeners are going to love this.
Mm-hmm.
Shaved on the side, on the left side,
Yeah.
but then it gets blended in on the right side, so you can only wear it one way.
Yeah.
So that it looks good when you get the haircut.
Yeah.
And I had this Lebanese barber that doesn't really speak English and does it for $18. And that was like the one haircut he was good at.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't stray from this.
No.
But then my
You
lover
didn't wanna
Jasmine.
Go to a different place.
No,
No.
I don't trust any of them. And I barely trust this Lebanese
Just
guy.
this one guy.
Because he has one haircut that he can do,
Yeah.
and he does it well. So
Okay.
I let him do it.
Yeah.
We're in the mall. Jasmine's like, let's just go to Tommy Guns. All they do is cut men's hair.
Mm-hmm.
They'll know. We'll just sit down and talk to them.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and I'll pay for your haircut. And I was like,
Done.
okay, this I can agree to.
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, we'll just shave both sides even in the back so you can keep growing your hair out long. And I was like, won't that look silly? And he's like, nah, I got a friend that does it. He's got curly hair. I was like, do it.
Lyndon just smashed a lamp for
The
effect.
for the fourth time today.
For the fourth time today.
I throw my hands up in exclamation and smash this lamp.
I think to send a message to me. I don't know what that message is. To extend his dominance over me, perhaps. I don't know, but
But this is a big deal. I haven't cut my hair in like 6 months.
it looks very long on top, and I'm liking the look of it.
I'll have a little man bun in no time.
So you could probably do it right now, actually.
Maybe a little top, like a little baby onion.
Yeah. Have you tried that? Do you have like a hair tie?
I don't.
I could give you one. I have.
Should we try it live on air?
We should.
Make everyone listen to me try it. No, we're not going to do that.
Okay. I was like,
You're like, I'm not, I don't think that.
That would require work. And the manifesto of this podcast is to not work. Speaking of manifestos, Jordan Peterson and Slavoj Žižek. Is that how you say his name?
I don't know. Little baby Carl.
I was just watching that debate between those two. Do you think people will know about this? Is this a thing that, like, if we talked about, people would be like, oh, yeah, I'm up on that?
Well, a very fringe amount of people.
Yeah. I feel like some of our
We talk about
true
Jordan
and
Peterson
faithfuls-
every episode.
Yeah, so they shouldn't be surprised if we want to, take a dalliance down this little road. It's okay. It's fine. I've watched about, 75% of it, and it's all right. It's fine. It's basically a lot of what you've come to expect from Jordan Peterson. And this Slavoj Žižek man, I think he's got some good points. I couldn't really follow him too closely. I don't know. I just...
I heard the problem is, I read a review. He's just like reading off of paper.
Yes.
And he doesn't speak English that well.
Not great.
And he's not as charismatic as Jordan Peterson.
Well, his English is fine, but just an accent. You're working through an accent, trying to listen to his points with the addition of, he's reading. So anytime someone's just reading something, you're like,
Well, it's like a sacrament talk when people are just reading off paper.
Yeah. So it's hard to really pick up where
it's hard to win a debate when your style is trash.
Yeah, trash style of the left.
Capitalism wins again.
Capitalism wins again. The verdict is capitalism wins again.
We did it, folks.
Hooah! America, USA, USA. Of course, Jordan Peterson is from Canada.
Canada.
North of Edmonton, is that right? Someplace up there?
That's where he was born.
Yeah.
Grand Prairie region.
GP, Bonnieville, something like that.
I don't think Bonneville's very close to Grand Prairie, but it is north.
Hell if I know.
North of us.
Hell if I know.
But we'll claim him as our own.
I'll claim him. Jordan Peterson, please come on the podcast. We need you. So, no, what were we talking about just before? Your haircut. Yeah, it looks good. It's I was gonna ask what number on the sides is that?
Take a guess.
I'm gonna say a 2.
Nailed it.
2. Okay. So for the listener, if you have any reference for what a 2 is, that's what's on the side, and then 6 months of hair growth. So what is that, like 6 inches?
Well,
kind of a thing.
Well, I haven't cut the top in a long time.
I call that 6 or 7 inches.
Perfect.
Something like that. So it looks good. Verdict on the hair. Looks good.
Perfect.
USA wins again.
This
Capitalism.
Yeah, the hair of capitalism.
Hair of capitalism wins. Who is Johnny Guns? Tommy Guns.
Tommy Guns.
Tommy Guns.
I'll get 10% off my next haircut for saying their name.
Was the guy or girl Lebanese who cut your hair?
Well, just like Jordan Peterson, I don't believe in identity politics.
I'm not asking about that. I'm just asking their ethnicity.
It was a man of indistinguishable race.
Okay.
And he was neither here nor there.
I'm just wondering if it was maybe the same guy, if he's sort of a jealous lover sort of situation where he just doesn't want you to have your hair cut by anyone else but him.
Well, he hasn't seen me in 6 months. He's probably forgotten about me.
Well, you don't know that. It could be a situation where he had thought that you were dead. And then once he what if, is it a situation where, I say this like it is real and that it happens. Is it a situation where, like, anytime someone gets their hair cut, it's sort of like a broadcast, across the network,
the barber network,
and all the nodes on the network can like see, Lyndon, and so he like saw that you got your hair cut. He gets mad. He's a jealous, scorned lover. He comes and finds you, and that's where we're at now. Is you just waiting for your death?
I don't think
at the hands of this Lebanese barber.
Very doubtful.
Okay. Well, just a thought.
But I will keep my eyes open.
Okay, keep those eyes open. You're sporting those Zenny frames out of those This is a sponsored episode. Everything Lyndon's wearing.
Enter code Mission Stories Podcast at Zennies for 10% off your shipping.
Don't do that. Nothing will happen. Gosh, we have a lot to talk about today, Lyndon.
We do.
It's been a minute.
Every time we do an episode, it's been one hot minute.
I know. It's because I don't know. I think it has something to do with the fact that you have a significant other. I don't want to blame anybody, but if I had to, I would blame your significant other.
I did get some feedback that said, do you and Troy have girlfriends now? Is that why the podcast is so infrequent? And I was like, yeah, I do.
Half true. Yeah, I do not have a girlfriend. I'm single.
Troy is single, ready to flamingle.
Ready to flamingle. And
speaking of flamingling, what about that breaking news about the Calgary YSA Stake?
Oh yeah, there's going to be a stake. I actually don't know exactly what that means. What's the fallout of that going to be?
Well, I was in America. I was in Utah.
Yeah.
When they announced that.
The home mother country.
The land of milk and honey.
The land of milk and honey.
Oh yeah. I went to Zaxby's when I was in Utah on your recommendation.
Yeah. How was it?
Is aight.
What do you mean it was aight?
Here's the thing. I know it's like a direct competitor to Chick-fil-A.
Yes. And
I think it's Chick-fil-A's like spicy younger brother.
You know, because in Georgia, my mission is where I really got acquainted with both Chick-fil-A and Zaxby's. And the verdict at the time was that Zaxby's was the more higher quality food items to Chick-fil-A's maybe, I don't know, sort of. I mean, like Chick-fil-A's is high quality too, I think. Their chicken.
I think they hang their hat on their like pleasant service,
and just sort of like they do one thing really well, which is their chicken sandwiches, whereas Zaxby's is more, there's a little more variety, I would say. They do the salads as they're called,
and deep fried cheese curds.
Do they do that too? Is that what you got?
Yeah, I got those.
I don't remember that. I used to get the kickin' chicken sandwich and some salad. They had to put a Z anywhere they could.
But I mean, that's the land of milk and honey. That's Utah.
Yeah.
All the restaurants.
Do they have a Shake Shack there? Because that place, if they...
I saw something, because I remember Jasmine, she said, I would lose my mind if Utah ever got a Whataburger. Because they don't have that. That's a Texas thing.
Yes.
And I remember seeing, I think I saw like a Shake Shack knockoff. But isn't Shake Shack still just like a East Coast kind of thing?
Yeah, I had it. I went to New York in 2014. That's when I first had it, and it was really good. It was like life-changingly good. You ever have one of those meals where it's just like, oh my gosh, my whole paradigm has shifted. The way that meat is prepared and slapped between two buns will never be the same again.
Yeah.
Isn't it incredible how like a burger can be? I've had so many burgers in my life. I think it's incredible how a place like fast food chains can make their burgers so consistent. But like they're all different. They're all different.
My life-changing burger was actually on my mission.
Huh.
It's a mission story. I'm sure I've told it. The Red Robin burger.
The Red Robin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where my companion and I were like weak and anemic.
Yeah.
And we're broke. We had no money.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, we're going to Red Robin. I'm getting one of those burgers that has a fried egg on it. I was like, the Lord will provide. And it's like, we sit down, we eat these delicious burgers at Red Robin. Enter Mission Stories Podcast at redrobin.com for 10% off your delivery.
One free egg
and we're
on
just
your
and
burger.
it's like we're like finished and we're like, crap, we have no money.
Like
we have
no money?
We're like, we have no way to pay for this.
Huh.
And then we're like, so about the check. And the waitress is like, oh, it's already been paid for. And we're just like, beauty.
And you were like on your way out the door when she's saying that. You're like, hey, I don't know how we're gonna pay for this, but anyway, Godspeed. And then she's like, oh, don't worry about it, it's all paid. You're like, perfect. You know, like the door hits.
I think we were like trying to make eye contact with as many families as possible at Red Robin. Because, you know, it's Arizona. So you're just like, Hmm?
Yeah.
Hmm?
We're poor.
We're the Lord's servants.
Inasmuch as you do it unto the least of these, you do it unto Jesus. And they're like, fine.
So, yeah.
Hmm.
And we didn't even get a chance to thank them. They'd already left. So that burger was amazing.
It was because you're just so hungry and anemic.
Well, it was like manna from heaven.
Yeah. Except not. It was meat. Did they have meat? Did they get meat?
Manna?
Sweet meat? What's manna?
Manna was like a bread. Some
Manna's
speculate it was like a weird fungus that grew in the desert.
Should we start a burger place, a religious burger place, and we cater to all the religions, and we call it something like Judeo-Christo burger or something, and we have the manna burger for the Jews, and we have Passover burger, again for the Jews, and then we have Ramadan Malang for our Muslim brothers and sisters. And I don't know what that is yet, but we'll think of it. And then what do we do for the Christians? We do a Pentecostal something. I don't know.
I think that's just for the Pentecost.
Like,
Could be for everyone.
Like
We'll do a Lent burger. That's the fish
burger.
one.
Yeah. And we do I was gonna say a bloomin' onion sort of thing. Could be like the day of Pentecost. I don't know why.
I like where your head's at.
Because the Spirit's blooming all over everybody.
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it.
But that Calgary YSA Stake.
Right. That's what That's what we were talking about. All right, so yeah.
I find it interesting because it was a big deal because
were in Utah.
Lethbridge got a YSA Stake.
Yep.
So now it's like, because I'm sure it's every stake president's nightmare that he has a YSA ward in his stake.
Yeah.
Full of these rambunctious.
Yeah.
No, there's no anchor to their life.
Bringing the numbers down for sure in terms of probably home teaching, probably bringing the wrong numbers up, and I'm talking sins. I'm talking sins, confessions.
Children of record baptisms?
Children of records?
None.
Down. And any children that are getting baptized, they're out of wedlock, so they're not wanted.
Well, let's not go so far.
Oh boy.
We'll get into that later.
I was doing so good this episode too. I was like, have I said anything yet?
Have I said anything
inflammatory and offensive?
Well, we always get there eventually.
Listen, all the children are wanted. We love God's children are so wanted.
Flowers in his garden.
Speaking of, do we want to? No, we'll go to that later. But let's jump back to this stake thing.
Well, it's like a company. Every company has like one underperforming division, so that they can like get those tax breaks.
That's right.
Where it's like, oh, this, for whatever reason, blah blah blah.
Lost leaders.
Yeah.
It's like how Apple has the iPhone. So, no, bad.
Well, you've got a business degree.
Bad example. No, what's a thing? I really want to.
What's the example? Yeah, an example of a loss.
So here's something that you would. So you would
do it in retail.
Yeah, so you'd have like something that loses money but brings in customers for like another area of your business. So it's like something that you.
It's like a Corvette
to attract. Yes, yeah.
You put a Corvette in the showroom.
Yep.
But they make no money selling Corvettes.
And they spend a lot of research and development money on this stuff, but it's like you just also maybe like Formula 1 too might be like that. Like it seems like it only loses money, but it's like you want to be like a Mercedes or a Ferrari. They want to be in that prestige realm, probably losing money, but also they're getting the prestige, which is going to reflect in their sales in their core business, which is not.
And retail does it, like the window sales.
Yeah.
You take one fancy item, put it on sale a whole ton, brings people into the store.
That's right.
But they're like losing all their profits on that item.
They're losing it on that, but they're making it elsewhere. So that's the concept. How are you going to apply it to the YSA stakes? Are you saying that the YSA stake?
They're like, get these out of our stake and put it in its own little division to be the loss leader.
Okay, I thought you were saying, so like all the loss leaders, put them all together so that the whole thing is one big loss leader.
Yeah. So that's like the division that gives everyone else the tax. So they're not bringing down all the other divisions.
No, that's a good point. So are we getting new bishops then, or are the bishops staying the same?
So
How does this
it's
work?
the new stake presidency.
Okay.
So I did hear one of the YSA wards is going to be moving into the Institute with the Brentwood ward.
Okay. That's good. So they're going to like combine a couple wards maybe?
No, well, that's the whole thing. Like Lethbridge did it because Lethbridge has like 10 YSA wards. So they have like enough wards to make a stake to warrant it.
Right.
But in Calgary, they're literally just doing it because I think the other stakes are like, we don't want these chumps.
Yeah.
Get these chumps out of our stake.
Out of here.
Give them their own stake.
We got to boost our numbers, and this is the quickest way we can think of. Is this just some fancy doctoring of the books happen? Are we cooking the books right here?
Gerrymandering
Are they
the stakes of
gerrymandering
Zion?
the districts to get their preferred person in office? Look at us. We're just pulling highfalutin concepts out of the air, using them, or applying them as they ought to in God's kingdom.
Is there six YSA wards here?
Yes. I don't know.
I know this because of March Madness. 3 in the South, 3 in the North.
3 in the North. But there's
the North Conference and the South Conference.
I thought that there was like, or is that just like the girls' teams had to like bunch up because there wasn't enough ladies who wanted to play basketball or something?
Women's basketball.
Yeah.
Not as popular. Okay. In other news of women's basketball, the WNBA just signed a television contract with CBS.
Hey.
Maybe
congrats.
those ladies are finally gonna get their big contracts.
They're gonna get their due. Hey, could you name one WNBA player?
Current, like active?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Today.
Oh, I know. I knew she was just on TV, like the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a Maya. There's like 3 WNBA players named Maya that are really good.
Okay.
I can always say Leslie Sparks, but she's retired.
Are they all on the same team, the Mayas?
No.
They're like, Maya, passes to Maya, passes to Maya, passes to Maya.
I think there's just like 3 Mayas.
Alley-oop to Maya.
I think there's just 3 Mayas in the league.
Okay, so they're probably not on the same team. Okay, well, hey, good for them, and good for ladies basketball. I'm all for the bringing obscure things to the surface because, I always think that if I don't know about something, but I would love it if I knew about it, tell me about it. Tell me about it. That could be a new segment on the show.
Well, here's your chance because like they said, CBS is bringing women's basketball to primetime.
Yeah.
Are people going to watch it?
No. They might. I don't know. If it's on. Yes. I don't know. F1 racing, I think, is another thing like that where it's like there's a Netflix show series, F1, The Drive to Survive. Watched the whole thing. By the end of it, I was a regular gearhead. I was a regular grease monkey. Right. I was a regular F1 head because I loved it, and I even watched a race. A little bit boring, so I haven't watched one since. But still, I liked the show. Here's my point.
F1 racing and YSA Stake.
The stake
are the same.
What's going to happen? Is there going to be like one stake present? So
where are the stake offices going to be?
Where are they going to be?
We're going to have to find out beginning of May. I'll be in Mexico.
Okay.
So you're going to have to go to that conference.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll make sure to go.
Get all the deets.
Yeah. What time is that going to be at?
I don't know.
If it's at 10, I don't know if I can make that.
It's like the conference is like a 2-day. It's like Saturday and Sunday.
Sunday.
Was it May 4th, May 5th?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It is. May 4th and May 5th is a YSA conference to bring in the new stake.
Like 2 days. Oh, I guess they're all 2 days.
Any state conference has 2 sessions.
Oh, I sound like such a rube right now.
What would Cheryl say?
Oh, I can hear it now. Troy.
Troy never goes to state conference.
The sign of a true apostate. Well, Cheryl, I'm sorry. I'll go to this one and I'll give a full report. I'll tell you what I did watch a lot of was General Conference.
Dun 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 dun. General Conference report.
Okay, so this is our General Conference report for April 2019, and So much to talk about.
Yeah.
So much.
There are things to talk about.
My first big thing that I noticed was that there was no big announcements in the general conference itself.
For the mission time?
For anything, it felt
Right,
like.
for anything.
Because there were some theories about, and I would love to know where this theory started, but about the word of wisdom.
That one was so out of left field.
Yeah, that was out there.
Where they're like, is
Unlikely.
coffee going to be okay? And it's like, obviously not.
Well, you never know.
It's explicitly stated.
It's like one of those things where
They would never say coffee's now okay. They would say the word of wisdom is no longer a requirement for temple recommends.
right.
They're like, we encourage you to keep it, but it's not going to be required for a temple recommend.
Yeah.
Is what they would if they were going to announce it.
They wouldn't even announce it. They would put it in the handbook, and then it would just sort of quietly go out like that.
Do a silent rollout.
President Nelson wouldn't be up at the pulpit with a cup of Joe, being like, "And now it's okay to drink," and then he like takes a big swig, but he doesn't realize it's so hot because he doesn't really drink hot drinks usually.
Why would he?
Did we ever get to the bottom of whether or not the whole hot drink thing was more about temperature or, coffee and tea kind of thing?
Well, later general authorities were like, they're talking about coffee and tea.
Why did they say hot drinks then? Like,
Well,
is hot water good for you or is it bad? I don't know.
Apparently it's not that good for you.
Yeah.
Because I know in one instance, yerba mate,
Yeah.
drinking in South America,
Mm-hmm.
they drink it like near boiling for some reason.
Ooh.
Gives them like throat cancer. It's not
Jeez.
like it's just not that good to be drinking piping hot beverages.
No.
Like a nice
thunk?
warm beverage, I think is good.
Sure.
Some warm milk sprinkled with some cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put you right to sleep.
Yeah. Boiling hot water gives you
No.
throat cancer.
Yeah, throat cancer or lawsuits from McDonald's.
Or both. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like McDonald's has the market cornered on giving cancer to people, probably.
Yeah. So you heard it here first, folks. Iced
Mhm.
coffee, perfectly fine.
Drink it by the gallon.
Not a hot drink. Iced tea. That's how the Lord always wanted
Sweet
his iced tea done.
The Lord drank iced tea by the gallon. And there is a cloud brewing outside, and there's thunder. We will stop talking about such blasphemous things now.
Just kidding.
If we had any sort of technical proficiency, we could put a little lightning drop in there, like blasphemy corner.
Don't drink iced tea or iced
don't
coffee.
Don't do it. Don't do any of that. Because the prophet...
Drink energy drinks.
Yeah, because the water's a little murky on that still, so bit of a wild west for energy drinks.
No one said anything about that.
Not yet.
Actually, I think there was an enzyme article.
There was, I remember it. Didn't they show like what a spider... They're like, this is what a spider makes a web when he's on an energy drink. No. And it was like so crazy.
Oh, that was like from the 80s. They did
was
like
it?
Spiders on cocaine, spiders on weed.
Oh. And then
one of them was caffeine.
And it was just like so ripe for jokes, like the weed one had like 420 written on the web.
Yeah.
And the cocaine one had a bunch of like stock ticker stuff. And no, that's not true. None of that's true.
So yeah, the word of wisdom, that was out of nowhere. They didn't say anything about the mission time. Which,
yeah.
But no, here's what I heard.
What?
More scandalous rumor coming from people that are like, no general conference announcement, but like the bishopric got told. They just kind of got a letter to them saying like, mission calls, you're going to get reassessed.
Who is?
Missionaries. So the mission president is just going to decide how long a missionary needs to stay out for.
Ooh,
so if a mission president's like, this guy's losing his marbles, he needs to go home at 6 months, the mission president sends him home honorably.
Honorable full-time mission.
He serves 18 months and he's burned out. He's going home honorably.
Yeah.
He's a rock star missionary. Goes 2 years. And I was like, that's right. Because it's like
stand him out.
It's like old P. Craig said.
Yeah.
Not everyone's good at making widgets.
Uh-uh.
But this is a widget factory, and everyone's making widgets.
Everyone want to make them widgets. Was that your mission president?
Yeah. Because, like, not everyone is going to be a have the skills and talents to be a fantastic missionary.
No.
But should everyone go on a mission?
No, I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes,
You think everyone should go on a mission?
I do.
Every single Mormon?
Latter-day Saint.
I think I'm just reflecting what the leadership has said, that it isn't for everybody. Or is that just what my dad says?
Who has previously been in church leadership.
It's true, he has.
Well, yeah, like they raise the bar where it's like
Checks out.
people who don't have a right leg don't need to go on a mission.
No, but they can do like a service mission.
Yeah, I think they're like, that's what I'm saying. Everyone should go do some mission.
Do something.
If you do a service mission for 6 months, it's like,
Yeah, you served a mission.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're kind of redefining what it's like when we talk about, I served a mission.
Yeah, I've been over this. It's like the mission is like the greatest rite of passage for a church member.
Yeah. And it is.
Solidify that faith.
Solidify
and
the faith. You get the greatest convert will be yourself.
Exactly.
And that's what they're trying to do, and that's what they've done. Okay. Well, do you think that they should change missions anymore? Or are they changing too much? We need to revert back to a previous time. Back when missions were years, like 13 years.
You had to find your own boat to
Yeah.
the Solomon Islands.
Yeah.
You had to build your own church.
You had to discover an island, learn their language from scratch without any help. Do you miss those days? I mean, you can't miss them because you never had them, but I kind of miss those days.
No, I don't think we're ever going back to that.
Yeah.
Nor should we.
If anything, we're going in the opposite direction. Speaking of which, let's go forward. There's a couple things. All right, some big topics. Let's just call them out. We got Russell M. Nelson, and this is from. These are things that listeners have requested be discussed, and I think they are sort of the big hot topic things. Every conference, it seems, for the last few years, probably since forever, there's been one talk that's been like, whoa, controversial, sort of going against, rubbing people the wrong way. Last time it was Elder Oaks or President Oaks. This time, who was it?
President Nelson.
President
Well, it was
Nelson.
both. We had two There's
Who was the other one?
It's like it seems now every 6 months, some apostle is going to reaffirm the family of proclamation to the world.
Which is controversial.
To
In this climate, in this day and age?
It's yeah. So every conference, they have to remind them. So this time, Elder Anderson is like, by the way, we're still 100% about this.
Yeah.
And so and the big story, based on the Twitter, which we know Twitter's not real life, but
No, it isn't.
like Elder Anderson gave that talk, and it was like the men's choir in the back, or I don't know, or the BYU choir. But there's like a young boy just in tears singing the song, and then everyone on Twitter's like, "That's my cousin's brother," and he just came out as gay, and he's crying because he just heard that talk, and everyone on Twitter like established that as the truth. And then the other half of Twitter is like, he's so moved by the song, he's in tears.
Yeah.
And it's just like fake news. It's probably just fake news all around.
Really, the truth was he just sat too close to the flowers in the pulpit.
He had spring allergies.
He had spring allergies.
No one talked about that.
And nobody even freaking mentioned that.
So it's like the progressive Mormons
yeah.
are just like, he just came out as gay, and that talk brought him to tears because he's so sad. And then the Latter-day Saints are just like, he's moved by the spirit of the beauty of the hymn.
Yeah. What do you think?
What's the truth?
I don't know.
Oh, we'll never know.
Therefore,
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. Speaking of nothing matters, I watched this video on YouTube about how scientists think the universe is going to end, and it's basically like in a quadrillion years from now, there's going to be like a bunch of black holes for a while sort of ruling the universe, and then even at that point, those will explode, and then the little atom, the bonds that hold particles together will like evaporate, and eventually it'll be nothing. And I thought to myself, wow, that's sad. And I was glad that there was the church. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Troy's testimony. For the first time ever on the podcast.
That's right.
Troy's testimony.
That's right.
But yeah, that's I don't know. That's controversial.
Yeah. Okay. I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard that little tidbit.
Well, yeah, because you're talking about October, Elder Oaks.
Yeah.
So this was like 6 months later. Now it's Elder Anderson's turn to do the same talk.
Yes.
Where it's like family, proclamation to the world. We're all about it.
There was a...
but I mean, they're like rah, the traditional family.
Mm-hmm.
But they're never like against non-traditional families.
Well, I think some people would argue
they?
against that. Should we talk about the
Policy?
The policy switcheroo. So what happened? What initially happened, and when was that? So there was the policy switcheroo, and it was a bit of a secret switcheroo. It was like we mentioned.
I think it happened about a year ago when we're on like the 1 year anniversary of this podcast.
I don't know if it was like, I thought it was further back than that. The children of gay parents not being allowed to be baptized is what we're referring to. And it was issued in a handbook, in the new handbook, sort of quietly, and then someone picked up on it.
We were talking about it like a year ago.
We were talking about it like a year ago.
When it happened exactly, I don't know.
So anyway, that was sort of the situation with that. Result being...
Oh, yeah, because we got no, that wasn't the instance where I can't be bothered. That was a different issue.
What was that?
That was Dan Reynolds.
That's right.
I can hardly be bothered.
Child suicide of gay teens.
As we
clarified,
was out of context.
You could be bothered.
I can be bothered.
And you are bothered by it. Yeah, no. So this was that little thing, and I remember a lot of Facebook posts and a lot of friends and such who were upset and kind of mentioned that this was the final straw. They were leaving the church, etc. And so now, big rigmarole. It's had sort of, I think the shock and awe of it had worn off over the last years. I think it's been 3. It's got to have been 3 years or something.
No.
It has to have been. I think it has been.
No.
Okay, then I don't know.
Could we fact check this very quickly?
We
Probably,
could.
but we won't.
We can't. We won't.
It's been some time.
It's been some time. Anyway, I thought to me it had seemed like it had calmed down a little bit, or I hadn't heard much about it. And then this time, this general conference, they reversed it. Before general conference, they reversed it. It seems maybe quietly again, but they reversed it. Like, did they make an announcement about this, or
there's like a statement?
A statement, I see. Okay,
a little press statement, I believe.
Why did they change it back?
Here's the thing.
What do you think?
It's church policy, and everyone's always like, every policy is doctrine, and it's like, no, there's doctrine and then there's policy. And at first I was like, what? This is affecting like 12 people in total. Yeah. That's why I was like, seems like such a strange move for like the dozens of people. Like, I'm obviously I'm out of touch because apparently it's hundreds of people that are affected. There's like hundreds of children that want to join the church, but their parents are gay. Yeah. But it's like, once again, I'm just like, it's just this strange minority where it's like, why are we even making? We need to make policies for these dozens, or I wondered. People are just like, oh, the church hates the LGBTQ plus community, and it's like, well, I'm not so sure about that because it's like the policy. I think the explanation was like, these kids, like if they get baptized into the church, it's going to like create division in the home, and the family's so important that they don't want to like create disunion in the family. Yes. So they don't want these kids joining the church if it's going to cause problems at home. Wait till they're 18. Yeah. Like it's almost. But people are like, nope, they just hate the. And it's like, would their parents even consent to this? Yeah. I want one of these people. I want one of these families to have an opinion.
Yeah, I literally
I want to hear nothing. I want to hear from them.
I would love,
because like this policy has nothing to do with me. Yeah. So I can hardly be bothered.
Hardly be bothered to look into it, I guess, but maybe
we should. And all the people who are upset about it, I don't think it affects them either.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I'm just like, what do the people that are affected by this have to say? I haven't heard anything from them.
I haven't either. Should we look into this another time?
Well, it's been reversed, so.
It's been reversed.
Even my sister, who like hasn't been to church in 15 years, made a Facebook post about it.
What was the?
She was like, too little, too late, or something, or
Right, because
thanks for nothing.
That was my next question. Is like, has the damage already been done? Is this truly too little, too late?
Well, I mean, it's people that haven't been to church in 15 years are ready to jump on it and be like,
yeah.
So I mean,
yeah. I don't know what
solidifying
I think about
their testimony against the church, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I can't be bothered to make a Facebook post about it.
But I think there's a lot of people who their whole platform for leaving the church was this thing.
Oh, that's not true.
Well, you're right. It was
they have a whole bunch of stuff, and they pick one catalyst.
That was the catalyst. You're right. That was the catalyst that they used to leave the church. So I guess my question was going to be, now that it's changed back, do you think, are we going to see some people returning to the church? Probably not, I would say. I don't know. I think it's just, people leave the church for a lot of reasons, and to blame it on one specific policy is probably an oversimplification of that.
I don't know. Like one of my ward mission leaders, because this is a Mission Stories podcast, said when he talked about the salamander letters, he's like, just separating the wheat from the tares. I was like, oh.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah, he's like,
God wanted that to happen?
Goats to the left, sheep to the right. That's how you weed out the unfaithful members of the church.
That's right.
And I was like, that is an interesting take on that, brother.
Quite the take indeed.
And I will gladly repeat it. I do not endorse it. I just repeat it.
Yeah, repetition does not equate endorsement. We'll say that. Let us now read Mein Kampf. Just kidding. So,
right.
All right. I don't know what else I have more to say about that little policy change, other than that I hope whoever was affected is now not affected in that way. I hope it's been a good thing for them. For whoever is affected, whatever rebellious young teenager with gay parents who wants to go and join the church to, stick it to their highly liberal parents. Is that a thing? That's a thing, right? You got the parents who are super liberal, and then like...
Apparently, it's not safe to assume that all homosexual people are liberals. They're very proud. I mean, we could get into demographics, I'm sure.
Maybe like social liberal, you can be a fiscal conservative and a social liberal kind of thing.
I know they're very proud of those people at like conservative conventions in America. They always like to parade the gay conservatives out.
Yeah. Our obsession with intersectionality or whatever. Yeah. Everyone's 100 different things, and identity politics, blah blah blah. I'm not interested in it. Me and Jordan Peterson, we don't think it's good.
We're on to it. But now on to a little more hot take on the doctrinal discussion.
Sure, yeah.
President Nelson.
In
his "Come Follow Me" talk.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
it was that was the last.
That one ruffled some feathers.
Last talk, right?
I don't think it was his closing one. I think it was not the closing one.
Okay. I just remember hearing it and being like, this is a lot of bold claims in a row.
A lot of absolute claims, yeah.
Yeah, that had a lot, very the consequences of which were very like far-reaching and absolute for like a lot of people's situations.
Right.
What were some of those claims?
Because his theme, his presidential theme, has been like stick to the covenant path.
Yes.
So he's like, hey, brothers and sisters,
stick to the path.
He's like, if you don't make these covenants, you're not going to the celestial kingdom. Yeah. If you're not on the covenant path, you're not going to the celestial kingdom. Mm-hmm. And so it's like.
And then he proceeded to sort of like break down a lot of specific situations. Because like, I think it's one thing to say that, and I think it's another, because to actually like list out real life scenarios where you can attach to people's lives and be like, anyone who's, doesn't go to church every week. I'm not saying that's what he said, but like if you're able to say like, if you don't do X, Y, Z, you are not going to
Right. Like
go to the celestial
the big
kingdom.
example is like some guy that he talked to, a friend of his that like knew about the church, had talked to the missionaries, and he's like, when I'm dead,
Yeah.
do my temple work for me and my wife.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, brothers and sisters, I don't know if that's how it works. And where everyone's like, you do know how it works.
And everybody laughed. He's like, that's his little joke, is that like this guy's salvation is on the line. He's just like, I don't know if that guy's gonna make it. Everyone's like, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, screw that guy.
Yeah, where it's like he believes, but he doesn't act on it. So
yeah,
where he's like, I would love to receive the blessings.
yeah.
But he's like, the commandments and the covenants and the commitment to church is too hard for him. And it's like, well, the celestial kingdom's going to be too hard for him.
Well, that guy was probably like, the tone of that guy, the statement that he was making was probably something like, yeah, I don't really like believe in any of this, but like, feel free to do if you want, feel free, go ahead. I mean, I'm dead. Nothing matters.
Well, no, he was requesting it.
Oh, he's
asking. He's like, please do the work for me and my wife.
Please do it.
Well, please get baptized and join the church. He wouldn't have it. So that was like one specific example.
What is that?
The one faithful listener wanted to bring out is that he made it. I don't think he specifically said this. I like scanned through the talk, but this idea that, like if you're inactive, you're not going to the celestial kingdom.
Right.
But apparently prophets and apostles have said in the past that if you're faithful, your children will be with you in eternity.
Yeah.
So, but then it's like, so now
how does
we don't have to be faithful, Troy. We'll just rely on our parents. Our parents will be blessed, and it'll like drag us up to the celestial kingdom with them.
Right. So that's,
and it's like, well, I don't know if that's how it works.
So that's like a question, right? Of does this lead into free will a little bit? Where, yeah, because I've heard that before, and I don't know maybe the source of that. I think it's probably prophetic. Someone, saying that like
someone alleged it's in Doctrine and Covenants, but you can say anything's in Doctrine and Covenants.
I was actually gonna go find it. Don't want to pour over that record too closely. Yeah, I think he's, that was one of the things that I maybe had some trouble with is in President Nelson's talk. I think he mentions something in section 130 9-8 or whatever it is.
Maybe I can bring up the footnotes. I still have it here.
Where basically it's the section where it talks about, the new and everlasting covenant of marriage and celestial glory and everything. But it's also the section where Joseph...
Like 138?
Yeah. It's also the section where Joseph tells Emma that if she doesn't get on board with polygamy, that God will destroy her literally. And so it's like, okay, well, how much of that is, how much of this are we taking super seriously and how much are we going to laugh off a little bit? Who knows? But the point that I wanted to make before was about free will. So the thing, like when I hear a statement like that, if someone doesn't, if they're not fully active, if they're not,
not on the covenant path for sure.
They're not on the covenant path. And let's be honest, that's most people, right? Certainly in the earth, and even within the church,
a large chunk,
and there's tons of family members and lots of things like that. There's a lot of people who once were active and are now not. Okay, fair enough. Now, the thing about this talk is when it says that, like, unless, there's going to be some empty chairs at the table in the celestial kingdom. Okay, but, and the one thing that President Nelson does bring up is like, I'm glad I'm not that guy's judge. Well, okay, fair enough. If Jesus is the judge, or God is the judge, or whoever, I forget how it works, but God's the judge, Jesus is the advocate, is that right?
Mediator.
Yeah. Then I'm assuming that we're going to go off of the idea here that there's a lot of and this is my main point, that there's a lot of factors outside of any one person's control that determines how they make decisions and why they make decisions, including those decisions about being on the covenant path or not. which sort of brings us to a question of like, we are all dealing with the hand of cards that we've been dealt in this life, and those include, you know, biological factors, our mental, environmental, who we were born to, who our parents were, where we were born on this planet. All of these things are outside.
Geopolitics,
genetics. What other externalities can we? Is that the right way to say it? No.
Externalities, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's all of these things. Like Troy Cooper,
were born in an age where there was no lead in gas.
That's right.
So you're bright.
So I'm a smart little boy, and I had lots of milk growing up, so I'm a tall boy.
The average IQ went up when they took lead out of gasoline.
Is that true?
That's true.
That's so great, and I'm so glad that they did that. But I had no control, and none of us had any control over the fact that we are who we are, and the decision-making thing, you know, the functions in our brain. I have no control over how I got to here. All I have is the ability to make decisions and to use logic and reason the way that I do, and the same goes with everyone else. And so how can we blame anybody for thinking the way that they think? Because if we were in their situation, we would do the exact same things within reason, within constraints.
Because you got to follow the Spirit.
You got to follow the Spirit.
You got to have the gift of the Holy Ghost and follow it.
But the kind of the proclivity of someone to actually follow the Spirit is in and of itself like a gift almost. You know, some people just feel nothing. And is that their fault? I would argue no, that it is not their fault, that they're dealing with things the best that they can. And that really and truly, if we're going to talk about judgment, we kind of have to incorporate that and leave it up to the great Almighty when that day or time comes to make those decisions for us. And it's like, okay, I don't think it's good, because I remember specifically, like, I had some family members who were like kind of upset at this talk, and the idea was kind of scary that, like, you know, family or friends were not going to make it because of these things, right? And so it's like I just really don't. I think we have to calculate or leave it in the hands of our higher power, our God, to factor in those externalities into the decision. And I don't think it's as simple and clear cut as if you drink coffee, then you're going to the terrestrial kingdom, or if you're not fully active, then you're screwed.
Well, I think if you get into the doctrine of it, we are all screwed. That's kind of the whole point.
Right, yeah.
So if God is the judge, we've all come short.
Exactly.
And so then people want to start putting restraints and limits on the atonement.
Yeah.
But it's infinite.
That's right. And
but so then the point is, covenants are like tools to gain access to the atonement, to make it easier. But is that a fair statement?
It's a fair statement, but
are they the only way?
But this is the classic argument against Latter-day Saint doctrine by, you know, Protestant sects, is that we do rely a lot on our works to save us, or it would seem that way to a lot of other groups.
Yeah, that's how they would see it.
And I wonder if this is sort of a situation like that where, what this talk is sort of talking about is that it's completely in our hands whether or not we're saved in the highest kingdom or not. When in actuality, I think it's a little bit out of our hands, because all of us we oscillate back and forth on this spectrum of righteousness, and I don't think it's a matter of time, or it's like hopefully when Jesus comes back, we're on the right side of that scale, because it's just like, well, no, all throughout our life we're crossing back and forth across that like righteous, unrighteous line, even on a daily basis. And so I don't know if it's as simple as all that.
Well, yeah. It's tricky because it's a gray, because on the black and white scale, Catholicism is like on one end, where it's like human beings have zero access to God except through the church, the priests and like all the ordinances, the confessions, it's like you have no connection to God except through the church.
Yeah.
And Protestants take the opposite version of you and God are always connected.
Mm-hmm.
It's just between you and God. And then Latter-day Saint doctrine is riding this weird middle ground.
Yeah.
That's all these shades of gray where it's like ordinances, which are covenants because you want to make promises with God.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be done through the church.
Yeah.
Your access to ordinances and covenants is through the church, but your access to God and the Spirit is kind of done by yourself.
Personal matter. Yeah.
So how dark gray, how light gray is that duality going on there? It's tricky.
It is. Needless to say, it's a little tricky. No, but it is. It's like an interesting thought where we really can't even come to a firm place on that.
Your Protestant friends are going to be like, "Have you accepted Jesus as your Savior?" And you're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Great."
Yeah, it's
now
done.
just do your best not to sin because it's pragmatic.
And isn't that kind of that's kind of our view as well, but also it isn't. It's like, no, you have to.
They're called commandments, not this will make your life easier.
Yeah. But I guess in a way they do. It's like a think long-termies, not think short-termies. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting topic. But it's also something that I don't think we need to be as frightened about. It was a frightening talk, and I don't think I don't know if he intended to. I think he did intend to sort of like awaken people to get on the covenant path, do the things.
If we're getting into theology, he's talking about exaltation versus salvation.
Yes.
Because it's like, as far as theology goes, we have a universal salvation. Like everyone's getting resurrected, everyone's getting a degree of glory. Everyone has been saved.
Yeah.
Through the atonement. Exaltation is a whole different ball game, and we sort of talked about this when we brought up hierarchies in Matthew's principle in a previous doctrinal discussion, where we're like, what if there's like not a lot of people in the celestial kingdom?
So let's talk about...
What if it turns out the majority of us are going to the terrestrial kingdom, and it's great.
And it's wonderful.
And it's great. It's a degree of glory. It's better than it is now. It's salvation.
Yes.
And rah-rah, but it's not exaltation.
So exaltation...
Because there's a hierarchy to the afterlife. Just like there's a hierarchy in this world.
We have some listeners who are not members of the church even, or have a lot of familiarity with our doctrines. So real quick, the difference between salvation and exaltation would be what? What are we... So salvation is you get a body...
Oh,
perfect body.
There's like a whole...
There's a lot to
There's
this.
a whole branch of philosophy about salvation. It's called like eschatology or something.
Yeah, salvation is like you're saved from death and something.
Physical, spiritual death.
Specifically in Mormon doctrine, exaltation would be that you get to...
eternal progression.
It's like you get to have a family in eternity, basically. You get to make little spirit babies with your husband or wife.
Allegedly.
So the story goes.
Create more worlds. And
yeah.
Continue the cycle.
Yeah. But even that's a can of worms. I don't like. There's so many questions I have that go along with that, and a lot of people have. Yeah. Where does it begin?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're exalted to the celestial kingdom, who's to say you don't have your terrestrial glory being like what? They're your family members that are only on the covenant path enough to get that one degree of glory can't withstand your glory.
Yeah. They burn up in your presence, according to the word.
Huh.
I don't know. My mission president told me once. I don't know. God dwells in everlasting burnings or something. I don't know.
Well, that sounds neat.
Sounds tough.
So
I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, the real kind of takedown article was by a psychologist, someone that does like mental health work. And they're like, hey there, President Nelson, there's a lot of people who have non-traditional lives and suffer from all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And telling them this just makes their mental health worse.
Yeah. And we feel for those people. Interesting. Some mental health. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Worriers, people who worry a lot, they hear this and they're going to they already think they're not doing enough. And now it's like, oh no, now I'm really not doing, and
Right.
especially things that are outside of their control, like family members' decisions. And they think what could I have done more to encourage so-and-so to live the covenant path? Well,
Right.
nothing, because it's their decision, and you shouldn't be burdened with all that. That's just too much to live with.
Well, because then it's nature versus nurture. So if you're a parent, you're like, what could I have nurtured them into more?
Right. Yeah.
Or what did they just nature themselves out of? Or maybe you were nurturing them away, but they just natured themselves in.
Ugh, nature, nurture. Which is it? I don't know.
It's a tug of war.
It's a tug of war. Did you have a favorite talk from conference? Should we end it on a semi-positive note instead of a completely critical tone?
Hey, I'm not critical of it. I thought the talk was great.
I am.
It's like a reminder, people.
Okay.
We're not all going to the celestial kingdom. Not everyone's getting exalted unless you stay on the covenant path.
Right. Okay.
And people are just flabbergasted. They think the celestial kingdom's a big freebie.
No, it isn't.
And it is. But also, it isn't.
All right. Well, I don't know.
So it's just hey, everyone be happy. We're all being saved. We're all getting that sweet, sweet salvation.
Sweet, sweet Sal.
And then some of us are going to be exalted. And we're going to be happy for them.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be you.
Maybe it'll be you.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? We'll leave it to God. We'll leave it to Jesus Christ.
I trust
our
him
Lord
to
and Savior.
mediate all that. Certainly, you and I certainly aren't going to mediate it.
I won't, no. Unless they ask me to, in which case I'd be more than happy to help.
We'll sit down. We'll look at the books.
We'll do one of these up in heaven, and we'll be offering our opinions. And I'm sure some angels are taking notes of this.
Both of us could do it.
We could.
You open up the justice book.
Yeah.
I'll open up the mercy book.
Uh-huh.
We'll compare numbers.
We'll compare the notes, the figures, the facts.
And probably everyone will go to hell.
Yeah. Because we'll get lazy halfway through.
And we'll be like,
do we have a quota, or what's the deal here? And they'll be like, yeah, we've already let enough people into the celestial kingdom. Like, okay, well, the rest of you are going to hell then anyways.
fire and brimstone.
It's like how the voting works in the U.S. or something, or I guess everywhere, where it's just once they've determined the outcome, it's your vote really never mattered in the first place,
Right.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Luckily, that's not how it works.
Luckily, we are in
Fortunate for us.
better hands than that, presumably. So, all right.
Wait, did you have a favorite talk?
I don't remember. I know that Christofferson. I liked his talk.
I was going to say Christofferson.
Yeah.
But then if you said, give me a detailed rundown of his talk.
Yeah. I don't.
I just know that I like the cut of his jib.
I like how he gave the talk, and I don't remember any of the substance of the talk. But
Other than
I remember that I liked it.
Christofferson comes up and I'm like,
Yeah, I like that guy.
it's we're going to get a straight shooter here.
Oh, he's a real straight shooter. Yeah, all the other, I don't know, man. I have a hard time retaining things, I suppose.
Well, that's general conference. That's how you feel.
I find general conference, frankly, to be too general. I wish it was a little more specific, and I wish it was a little more, because it's I've heard.
You want specific conference.
Yeah, I really do. I would love specific conference. General conference.
The apostles sit down and they basically teach
a topic.
a close scripture institute class.
Yes. And they take a topic and they rip it apart.
They get down to the bare bones. I'd love to be in an institute class taught by an apostle.
Yes. Actually, I don't know. I think it's their policy just to be as general as they can be so that they don't get sort of painted into a corner by something that they say. Because that's the thing.
Yeah, wasn't Christopher? He's just preach. He does his old preach nothing but repentance, and then he has a big old smile. He's always preach repentance with a smile. That's a line.
See, I'm smiling.
Yeah. That's his famous line. I think he did something similar to that. He's probably hoping to get some residual laughs.
Yeah. See? Chuckling. I don't know. He's a good guy. We like him. We're pro Christofferson on this podcast. And we're pro.
What about Holland Watch?
Holland, I remember.
Like, there's people who are like, vote to sustain that Jeffrey R. Holland gives 2 talks at General Conference.
Yeah.
And I'm like, vote that he's the most overrated speaker.
Just lately, to be honest. I mean, like, he has enough goodwill from his backlog.
His greatest hits.
His greatest hits are the greatest hits of all
He's
the
got
hits.
some real bangers and slappers.
And so I think he gets a lot of leeway whenever he's got a good record. Let's just say that, you know, he's doing pretty good in baseball terms, which I know nothing about, so I won't comment any further.
His
on that.
swing rate is optimal.
He swings every time, and he makes it.
He checks the right amount of pitches at the plate.
Okay. Is that real?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, we'll just you're like, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna say stuff anyway.
Sports.
Lyndon,
Yeah.
is there anything else to discuss? We're past an hour now, and
I think
what else is there? Or did we cover it all?
I think we covered everything we intended.
There's one little email I guess we could read.
Okay.
And
a little dessert.
Yeah, this is from Alexander Williams, C. Williams. He says, here's an email. He says, also, I can confirm that the zoo is dangerous. In fact, that is where I cracked my head open. I got ice cream that day, so it worked out. Love, true and faithful, Alex Williams. I think that's in reference to our previous podcast with Kara Henry. I think we talked about going to the zoo. Yeah. I jumped off something. I busted my ankle or whatever.
And I talked about Curtis, who fed salami to the wolves and was never heard of again.
Yes.
Dragged away.
Yes, we did. Very good. Thank you, Alex. If you have any thoughts or opinions about anything, feel free to email us at the Mission Stories Podcast.
Yeah, if you want to correct any of our real fast and loose perceptions of the plan of salvation and final judgment and the degrees of glory in the afterlife. If any of that was a little fast and loose for you,
too fast, too loose,
tighten it up for us.
Tighten it up. Send us a message.
We need all the correction we can get.
We need all the content we can sling. Oh, Lyndon.
Yeah.
Anything else? I don't know.
You know,
I leave it to you.
General Conference was great. Can't wait for the next 6 months of just teaching it in Elder Quorum. I guess you got to take a look at these talks. Mm-hmm. You got to read them for yourself. Mm-hmm. You got to stay true and faithful. Mm-hmm. And you got to remember, life's a mission.
It is. Bye-bye.